thing anyone that walks into this velodrome tends to notice first is the banking, and just how steep it is. As you can see with us stood here, that's a whopping gradient of 42 degrees. And in fact, Manchester Velodrome was resurfaced just last year, and a lot of work went into it.
Yeah, so April last year, this amazing track was resurfaced. It takes 60,000 metres of Siberian spruce to make a track like this, over 200,000 nails as well, all hand punched.
It's absolutely incredible, the work that goes in behind the scenes here. And if you look to the bottom of the track here where I'm stood, this black line is so crucial, especially when the riders are taking on the timed events like the individual pursuit, like the team pursuit. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so you want to hit that 250 metre line. That's the shortest route around the track. And you'll see on the timed events we put the little sand blocks out as well. If you move just 10 boards up from that black line, you're travelling an extra 1.2 metres every lap. So you want to keep as low as possible and keep this track as short as possible.
Yeah, well, I certainly would, that's for sure. Now, a lot of people take to these boards each and every year. Tell us some facts about that.
Yeah, so if you take all the riders that come here for training sessions, all the track leagues, all these nationals and World Cups and World Championships and that sort of thing, we've worked out that it's roughly 13.1 million laps of this velodrome are done every year.
Absolutely incredible. And a few facts and figures to think about as the riders battle it out over the weekend at the HSBC UK National Track Championships.
Team Pursuit is a team endurance race. Teams of 4 riders compete over 4 kilometres for both men and women. In the qualifying heat, each team competes against the clock to qualify for the first round. At this point, the 8 fastest teams are opposed as follows: 6th against 7th, 5th against 8th, 2nd against 3rd, and 1st against 4th. The winners of the last 2 rounds compete in the final for 1st and 2nd places. The remaining 6 teams will be ranked according to their recorded time. The 2 fastest teams will compete in the finals for the bronze medal. The winner is determined by either catching the other team or by recording the fastest time.
So welcome to Sunday's session. Can't remember now. This is session 5. It's been so much track racing here at the HSBC British National Track Championships. Glad you can join us here. And we have the team pursuit qualifying rounds. But before we get underway, we've got a non-championship ride by the Junior Academy. Gives them an opportunity to ride the boards and try and set a time. So it's all about developing young talent. And off they go. So what can they do? Tradition here in Britain says that they will set a very, very good time. So looking good and compact, and that's the important part. And these riders are Britain's team pursuing future, and they look well drilled already. So Junior Academy under 18, and so just given the opportunity to see what they can do. It's not often they get the opportunity like this. It's all about development process. They're looking really good. Down the back straight they go. So some long turns at the front. Not a lot of distance between them, which is a good sign. Just change at the back. Just loses about a bike's length. He's back up there after making a hard effort on the front. He'll pay for that a little bit later on. So the coach just standing in the infield, slightly down in their own schedule. So 2 kilometres, 2:09.780. 2 kilometres to go, so they're halfway. Still looking good, but some of the changes just need tightened up a little bit. But looking really good so far. I remind you, a non-championship race. The Junior Academy giving these young boys the opportunity to try and set a time in race conditions. So the coach asking just for a little bit more now. But these boys look really well drilled. Can't see any weaknesses now with a 1 kilometre to go, 4 laps. So there's 3 laps to go now. The clock will stop in the third rider across the line. A little bit of a gap starting to appear now, so the pressure is on. So the coaches encourage them. So looking good for this young junior team. Looks as if they're down to 3 riders now. So 1 lap to go. And it's full on now on this final lap. Just looking a little bit ragged at the finish. And a time very respectable, 4:15.968. So 4:15 at 9:68 for the Junior Academy team. So a very respectable time. They look good, and that's the important thing. All a learning process. You can see only centimetres between each wheel, which is important. And they practice those changes when they go up the banking, come down at the back, 3 to finish. So a 4:15 at 9:68. So now we will start to head on to the team pursuit finals here. This is the heats. We have 9 heats. Another early morning start. Yesterday we had the sprinters, the male sprinters, qualifying at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they were the last in the medal ceremony last night, just after 10 o'clock. So a long day for the male sprinters. And the first of the heats will be BioRacer Moriarty Go B. So they will have 2 teams. And sometimes it's not all about putting the strongest riders together. It's all about riding as a team. So heat 1 sees a BioRacer Moriarty Go B, Andy Bruce, John Gartland, Jason Roberts and Ross Thompson. 16 laps of the track, 4 kilometres. Time of taken when the third rider crosses the line. And only the top 4 teams to qualify. So 9 teams, 4 will go through to fight for the medals. 10 seconds now in the first heat. So off they go. And it's Andy Bruce leading the way. A nice steady start. Man 4, a little bit difficult. He needs to get with them as quick as possible. And that's John Gartland. It's a bit of a difficult start, you really don't need that. So a bit of energy lost. And he's riding at the back, so a good call there from Andy Bruce. Pops into man 3 position, which helps John Gartland. And John will now go through. And an untidy change again, like we've just seen. Junior Academy, they were robotic. This a bit less so. So practice makes perfect. Gaps starting to appear early on. So a mix of talent in this team by the looks of things. Some stronger riders. They just have to keep it a little bit more steadier. Do longer turns at the front. And this is what you don't want. Looks as if the start of John Gartland, the effort he had to make, he's really paying for it now. So every element of the team pursuit is really important. Just missing that change again at the back, a bike length. So he's really going to pay for this. So just coming up to halfway. 2 kilometres. 2:18.014. And still the gaps appear between the riders. So not as smooth and slick as the young juniors. But many riders here just for the experience. Some of these riders are working full time and don't have the opportunity to ride on the track every day. So again, the changes not precise enough. .3,000 metres and 3:26. So into the last kilometre. And some of the riders will start to feel the pinch now. The gap still appearing in this ride by the Moriarty Go B team. So 2 laps to go, 500 metres, starting to break up now. Clock will stop on the third rider. So down the back straight they go. All 4 still together. They stop the clock with a 4:34. So 4:34.472. When you consider the non-championship ride of the Junior Academy, just for a comparison, 4:15.968. Trying to gauge to see if they're happy with that effort. So technique wise, probably a 2 out of 10. Something to work on and build on. But at least they're here at the National Championships, representing their team. In last year's championships, it was 100% me, now called Team Inspired, that took the victory. They qualified with a 4:05.285. So next on the track will be another development team coming from the Kingdom of Fife, Spokes Racing Team. Develop a lot of young, talented bike riders across the UK, predominantly in Scotland. So Heat 2, we have Aaron King, Logan McLean, Adam Mitchell and Oscar Onley. So let's see what they can do. And off they go. And Aaron King leads the way. So just getting up to speed in the back straight before they settle down. So looking good so far. Definitely got the speeds. Looks as if they look well drilled also. Changes look okay. Maybe just need to be sharpened up a little bit, but that's all in the development. We said a lot of these riders, young riders, have come here. They ride the national championships for their team. It's all about experience. But it's certainly a tradition here in Britain that produces some world-class riders, Olympic champions, world champions, European champions, Commonwealth champions. And when we get on to the match team pursuiting later on, it certainly is an event that shines through. So next lap we'll see them at half distance. So they hit half distance at 2:12, 5 seconds quicker. So 5 seconds quicker than the BioRacer Moriarty Gopi team, but looking a lot better, a lot sharper. So the Spokes Racing team from the Kingdom of Fife in Scotland, looking good, but do they have the speed? 7.8 seconds quicker, so they are getting faster. So again, increasing that speed. This team of Aaron King, Logan McLean, Adam Mitchell and Oscar Onley. Still looking good and compact. Coming down to 3 laps to go. So what time can this young team do? Starting to push for the finish now. 2 laps to go. Starting to lose just one rider at the back. But it's 3 riders to finish. Third rider get to time. So pushing hard now for the finish. Down the finish and straight. They're going to finish with a time of 4:18.625. So 4:18.625, almost 16 seconds faster. So if you're just joining us, wherever you're watching, on the British Cycling website, YouTube or Facebook Live, thanks for your company. You can join us throughout the day by using hashtag #TrackChamps. Get involved. Send in your pictures. So remember, hashtag #TrackChamps. We have got team pursuiting on now. We've got male scratch race, female points races, female team sprinting throughout the day. So Heat 3 underway, and it's the University of Nottingham. George Clark, Sebastian Gary, Michael Gill and Oliver Hucks. So leading the way, Michael Gill just swings up. And they look as if they're up to speed. To front, Sebastian Gary now. 1 lap turns. And just a fraction of a second slower. 0.006. So nothing in it now. 7 1/1000ths of a second. So very comparable to the fastest times we've seen already. But getting faster, 0.5 quicker now. So really putting the power down. Bit of a ragged change, that one. We say this all the time, that you'll pay for that later on in the ride. But still riding well, 1.3. Just coming up to halfway. 2:09.852, somewhat 2 seconds quickest. So the University of Nottingham with George Clark, Sebastian Gary, Michael Gill and Oliver Hucks could be setting the fastest time. So now down to 3 riders. Heading into 5 laps to go. So a big effort now from the University of Nottingham. They've lost George Clark. And another bad change. Big effort now to get on the back. 3 laps to go. When you're tired, it's always a big effort. And Oliver Hucks has had to dig deep at the back there. So starting to pay for it now. 2 laps to go. Looking a bit ragged, hitting the sponges at the bottom. And Hucks suffering from that effort he's already made. So the bell will ring now. And music to their ears. Only a few seconds now of pain. They have been setting the fastest time throughout the ride. Bit of a ragged finish. Third rider across the line. He's going to stop the clock at 4:18.385. Goes into first place. So 4:18.385. 0.306 quicker. So they slowed it a little bit towards the end. So 4:18. The winners last year qualified 4:05. But a good ride here from the University of Nottingham. Went down to 3 riders inside the last kilometre. Bit of a ragged finish. but still managed to post the fastest time so far. So 3 teams gone. The fastest time 4:18.385. So next team go from one university to the next. The University of Derby CC. And with the Derby velodrome on their doorstep, gives them a great facility to train. They look uniform, they look good, but can they deliver? Certainly look up for the ride. And off they go. Down the back straight, settling down into the aero bar position now. Will Perez at the front, powering away. He's going to do a longer turn and get them up to speed. So still riding well, 1.4 quicker, so they do look good. So now 2 seconds quicker. They've got some good speed here. So the University of Derby almost 3 seconds quicker than anybody else at this moment. And they have entered 5 riders, 4 in this heat. Joseph Perkins, Alex Pritchard, Will Perrott, Christopher Stratham and Tom Ward. So now 4 seconds quicker. Coming up to half distance. 2:04, 5 seconds quicker than anybody else. So we're looking good here. It's the University of Derby CC. Making good use of the new velodrome in Derby. Another great facility that cycling has here in the UK. 6 seconds up now. So they're on course for somewhere around about a 4:10. If they keep this momentum, the rider at the back just failing to engage with the back wheel of the third rider. This is a big effort now. Christopher Stratham, can he come back from this? I'm not too sure he can. And it looks like the University of Derby could be down to 3 riders. If he doesn't make it now, he'll never make it, and I don't think he will. He just swings up. Too much of an effort for Christopher Stratham. So communication key here. And he comes down. Good change there. Full of concentration. Knowing that they've gone down to 3 riders sometimes on that occasion. With nobody in the end circle, in the infield, telling them but communication was there. Still up on anybody else's schedule, and what can they do? Almost 10 seconds quicker, so this could be a sub 4:10 now. So the University of Derby looking good, definitely going to be the fastest time. Sub 4:10, what can they produce here? It's going to be a 4:07. So an excellent performance there when you consider the winners set a benchmark last year in the qualifying of 4:05. So it's a super performance there. 4:07.229, an average speed of 58.246 kilometres an hour. For use working in miles an hour, 36.192. So a great ride by the University of Derby. So that's the benchmark now. For a matter of just over 11 seconds. And just a little reminder, you can join us all day here, the National Track Champs, by going on social media, posting up your pictures, hashtag Track Champs. Don't be shy. And we're here all day bringing you the action. First time that we've seen so much here at the British Track Champs. Every second, every pedal stroke, every emotion. We had some great racing yesterday. Joe Truman winning the men's sprints, beating an Olympic champion Jason Kenny. For in the Kenny household, it was Laura Kenny finishing off a fantastic female scratch race. Eleanor Barker in second, Katie Archibald in third. So we've already seen the B team. This is the A team for BioRacer. Moriarty Go A, Jamie Davidson, Rob Friel, Jason Roberts and Tim Shorman. So the time to beat 4:07.229. So looking a bit ragged at the start. Rob Friel feeling strong, but putting the rest of the team to the sword already. So needs a little bit more communication here from the infield to try and keep this together. So a very difficult start for BioRacer. Moriarty go 8. The team of Jamie Davison, Rob Friel, Jason Roberts and Tim Shoreman. Already over 5.6 seconds down. So the commitment was there for sure. It's just the technique needs to be sharpened up. Might be sounding a little bit critical for some of these club teams, but such is the nature of British team pursuing, and lots expected. So many of these club riders with full-time work trying to fit in these training sessions, and it is all about practice, practice, practice. Gaps still appearing, and some of the riders will actually try as much as possible to communicate, but they will use the big screens in the velodrome. There's one just after the finishing line on the right hand side. If they glance up at that, they'll see they're not together. So big efforts now, and they are really going to pay for these throughout the rides. So 5 laps to go now. So where can they finish? Their B team finished with a 4:34. Does look as if this could be a 4:20 something ride. So they will beat their teammates, but unfortunately it might not be good enough to go through to the next round. Only 4 qualifying. Three laps to go now. BioRacer, Moriarty go A team. The B team posted up 4:34. Almost 16 seconds slower than the fastest time so far, set by the University of Derby. The bell lap now. Down the back straight. Gaps appearing in the quartet. The clock will finish on a 4:24.392. So bragging rights go to the BioRacer Moriarty go A team, beating their B team by 10 seconds, but still 17 seconds slower than the fastest time in 4th place. And with 4 strong teams still to come, it's looking difficult to maintain that place. So we have 9 heats. We had a non-championship ride, if you missed it earlier on, and that was the Junior Academy, riders under 18 years of age. 4:15.968, which would see them sitting in 2nd place at the moment. So next up, Team Scotland. And Team Scotland, what can they do? We have seen so many riders now coming through the system in Scotland, courtesy of the Chris Hoy Arena, a velodrome up there. Great facility. And we have Matty Dobbins, Alfie George, Kyle Gordon and Joan Alley. You know Kyle Gordon, already a medalist in these championships. And off they go. So some strong riders in here. What can they do? Top 4 performance, they'll take that. Take them into a medal winning ride. And the Scots have ridden well in these championships across all the disciplines. Also in paracycling. Yesterday we had Neil Fackett in the commentary box. Callum Skinner in the afternoon. We'll try and see who's available later on the day as we progress. So Scotland riding well. 0.18 fastest so far. And they look well drilled. So Matty Dobbins, Alfie George, Kyle Gordon and Joan Alley. A young team. So still slightly fastest. And they look as if they're well drilled here. So obviously putting in the time, but just leaking a bit of time now. 1.3 in arrears. So still powering along. Matty Dobbins. And it's 1.950 slower. And it's good to see Scotland having some strength and depth in the track now. In the past, we had 1, 2, maybe 3 strong riders. Now we have a good squad, which is good to see. And that's the difference. But looking now, with 7 laps to go, down to 3 riders. So out goes Alfie George, leaving Matt Dobbins, Kyle Gordon and Joan Alley. So such is the competitive nature of the national championships. The velodromes across the country, in Newport in Wales, here in Manchester, London and Glasgow and Derby now, helping these riders towards some world-class times. So Scotland down to 3 riders. 4 laps to go, the last kilometre, and they're 4.6 seconds in arrears of the University of Derby, and I'm not too sure they can pull that back. So it's not going to be a sub 4:10 for Team Scotland today, and looking at more like a 4:12, 4:13. So 4.4 seconds slower. Starting to look a little bit ragged down the back straight. The pressure being put on. Man 3 has to stay there. The bell rings. And it's Matty Dobbins hanging on to Kyle Gordon and Joan Alley, pushing down the back straight. And here we go. They've got slightly faster. And it's going to be a 4:11.582. Good enough for second place. So a good ride by Team Scotland puts them into second place. 3 teams to go. But the 3 teams are the Wales Racing Academy. So as we were just mentioning, the track's paying 7 laps to go, down to for British cycling. So the Newport Velodrome, been around a long time now, helping Welsh cycling produce some good talented bike riders. So next up will be Team Wales. And then we go into Team Inspired, defending the best riders from last year. But then we move on to Hub Watt Bike Test Team, who went on to win the event last year with a 4:03.421. Team Inspired back then was 100% meet. They set a qualifying time of 4:05. So Team Wales, Heat 7, with Matt Burke, Daniel Combe, Oscar Mingay and William Roberts. They've just seen Team Scotland set a time of 4:11.582, but the fastest time is from the University of Derby, a 4:07. They know that the next two teams of Team Inspired and Hub Watt Bike Test Team, two of the fastest teams, setting a 4:03 and 4:05 respectively last year. So the time to beat for the Wales Racing Academy will be the team time of Scotland, 4:11. To make it into the final four, already 0.6 of a second up. A bit ragged at the back there. So still half a second fastest. And all this track time at Newport Velodrome, will it pay dividends for the Welsh Racing Academy? Coming up to 1,000 metres with a 1:06, so just going 0.488 slower. But the time to beat is the time of Scotland, 4:11. And the University of Derby went just over 4 seconds quicker. So Wales still on track to go into the final four. So Matt Burke, Daniel Combe, Oscar Mingay, William Roberts, still all together and looking good. Couple of ragged changes early on, but they look settled. A good change there, in fact an excellent change there at the back. So plenty of practice from the Welsh boys. So 2.7 in arrears. But we remind everybody that's against the fastest time of Team Derby, top 4 to qualify. In Scotland just over 4 seconds, so 2.8 now. So they've got about 1.4 seconds advantage on Team Scotland. Just moving down 3.358, so this is going to be close. Wales down to 3 riders now. Coming up to 3 laps to go, so this is going to be close. Are they going to make the top 4? Big effort now. But too much for Daniel Coombe. But Wales pushing for this time. 2.8, so looking good for Wales. So Wales looking to get into the final four. And looking good for them. Difficult change in the back now. Coming up to 1 to go. It's 2.5 seconds. So look as if Wales could be just dipping inside 4:10 here, which will put them into the next round. A top four. Coming up to finish. A time of 4:09. So a 4:09.386, good enough for second. And more importantly, with two teams to come, it puts the Wales Racing Academy into the next round for a chance at a medal. So well done to the Welsh boys. They look a bit spent at the moment, but they'll have to recover, because they will ride again, and the next ride will be a match race for a medal. So unfortunately for Team Scotland, a good performance, but not good enough to move forwards. So just a gentle reminder, hashtag Track Champs, get involved, send us your pictures. We're here all day. We need your company. Hashtag Track Champs across all social media platforms. Wherever you're watching. Facebook Live, YouTube, on the British Cycling website. And the next team will be Team Inspired. Formerly known as 100% Me. And in this team, Reece Britton, the new national points race champion. Fred Wright on the outside. So a good start. Set a time of 4:05 last year. So Matt Walls just on the front here for Team Inspired. Already 0.9 fastest as expected. Reece Britton now taking his turn. So the four riders looking good. So Team Inspired, 6 riders entered in this. Rhys Britton, Jim Brown, Will Tidball, Ethan Vernon, Matthew Walls, Fred Wright. So Matthew Walls just sitting in second place. Second in the points race yesterday. Riding together now with Rhys Britton, the winner. So 0.8 of a second quicker. Matt Bramier, the new coach in the infield, walking the line. Looking like they are slightly down on their schedule. Down to 3 riders. So going up to 3 laps to go. What have they got left? 1.7 quicker. So it does look as if they'll be moving through possibly as the quickest time. 500 metres, almost 2 seconds up now. Doesn't look as if they're slowing down. So with 1 team to go, looks as if Team Inspired are going to put themselves in with an opportunity with a gold or silver medal winning ride. 2.8 now, so a good performance here. They're going to stop the clock with a 4:04. 3 seconds quicker. So a 4:04, 1:89. Slightly quicker than the 4:05, 2:85 they did last year to qualify. So no ill effects from the points race yesterday. So that means that the leading team, Team Inspired, with a 4:04. And then we have the University of Derby in second place. In third place, you've got the Wales Racing Academy. And in fourth place, as we stand, Team Scotland. But now we have the Hoob Watt Bike Test Team, the favourites for this event, the defending champions. They set a time of 4:03.421. But they've been absolutely flying this year in the UCI World Cups. And in this team, John Archibald, Daniel Bigham, Charlie Tanfield and Jonathan Whale. And John Archibald, the holder of the individual pursuit over 4,000 metres, a 4:09. When you consider a 4:09 with the Wales Racing Academy sitting in third on his own, you would expect that the Hoob Watt Bike Test Team would be setting a fast time. So off they go. Qualifying first 9 teams. Just want to remind everybody that earlier on the first team was a non-championship ride by the Junior Academy. 4:15.968. But this is a well-drilled team. And they have their own tactics, trying to rewrite the script. John Archibald, as we see from the pursuits, a slower starter who sits on the back And they play to their strengths. So they've looked at team pursuiting, tore the format book up and decided to do it themselves. And it's worked to some great effect. So some long turns now. So a different way of looking at the team pursuits. Big turn. Now down to 3. This is the way they ride. So still looking strong. Jonathan Whale has done his turn. 0.8 faster. So they play to their strengths, and this is what they do. Jonathan Whale starts fast. They save John Archibald at the back. Charlie Tanfield and Dan Bigham do the middle effort. And we'll see John Archibald do some long turns towards the end. And they just have to make sure that they beat the time of 4:07 to make sure they go into the gold and silver medal ride-off. It's already 2 seconds faster. So qualified with a 4:03 last year. Looking for somewhat closer to the 4-minute mark now. So just coming up to the 3,000 metres. 3:01, 2:39, 2.4 seconds faster than Team Inspired. So what have they got left in the tank? Up to 3 laps to go. Is this a measured effort just to make sure they qualify for the gold medal ride-off? Because it will be another big effort later on today. Over 3 seconds now. So this is going to be a ride close to the 4-minute mark. The bell rings. 4.3 up. So can they dip under 4 minutes? The only team to do that. Looking good as they come down the finishing straight. And they're going to stop the clock. 4:59, 3:15. So the fastest team in the qualifying rounds, the only team to dip under 4 minutes. So a good effort there. Different style of riding the team pursuit, but it works for them. So just to confirm, the winners in the heats with the fastest time are Hub Wattbike Test Team. In second place will be Team Inspired. Third place, and a great ride by the University of Derby. And the Wales Racing Academy in fourth place. They will be the 4 teams that will qualify. So the team pursuits in the male category now set for the day, and we move on to the female team sprint qualifying. And we will have 7 heats. And over the weekend we've seen some great action at the velodrome and some happy people. So we're seeing the medalists from yesterday. A great ride there by Rhys Britton in the points race. This was a man punching and thumping his chest. Matt Rotherham, double British champion, won in para, as we can see with Neil Fackey. And he was so pleased to get that individual win in the kilometre yesterday. And what a fantastic event that was. All three riders in the end for the medals, very close. And this has to be one of the riders of the championship. Katie Archibald's not far away from the podiums in the first 2 days. Mark Rotherham happy with his individual kilometre win yesterday. So the women's team sprints, let's have a look at what they have to do.
Team Sprint. Teams of 3 for men and 2 for women compete over 3 laps for men and 2 laps for women. In the qualifying heat, each team competes against the clock to qualify for the first round. The task of the starting rider is to get out of the gate cleanly and bring the team up to speed as quickly as possible. After 1 lap, the first rider peels off to allow the next rider to make the pace. The leading rider must not swing up before a full lap is complete and must peel off between the area 15 metres after the start line, otherwise the team will be disqualified. The quickest 8 teams in qualifying go through to the first round, in which the fastest compete against the slowest. The winning teams from the first round with the 2 best times will ride off in the finals for gold and silver. The next 2 fastest teams ride off for bronze and 4th place. In the event of a false start, the team is permitted another start, with only 2 starts allowed.
So the female team sprints, and we're set to go. 2 teams in every heat. We have 7 heats, so 14 teams. Nice to see strength and depth here in the team sprints. So in the home straight, Emily Larwood and Holly Owens for Racing Chance Foundation. And in the back straight, Lucy Moore and Sophie Whiteley of Team Impella B. So some of these teams having an A and a B team. Explosive start by the rider in the inside. And the rider 2 just has to follow for the first lap and try and use the slipstream of the rider in front. Female championships, 2 riders compared to the male championship with 3. Of course, only over 2 laps where the male riders ride 3. So fast and furious. And Team Impella B, the fastest by far here. And it looks like Team Impella B will be taking this one. And they do. 39.558 with the Racing Chance Foundation. 41.353. So the first heat goes to the team of Team Impella, and the top teams to qualify for the semi-final. So that's the top 8 teams. As we mentioned, 7 heats, 2 in each heat, 14 teams. So this is all about time. So the match team sprinting will be later on. So this is about posting a time, and then you'll be seeded. Fastest against the 8th fastest, and so on. 2nd fastest against 7th. So all about getting it out, putting yourself as high up in the qualification board as possible. And this is all about fractions of a second. No second chances. And we've seen it in the male category yesterday. So full focus. So heat 2. And the home straight, we'll see West Midlands, Deborah Capewell, Emily Capewell. And in the back straight, DiMaggio B for Brooke Coldwell and Isabel Whiteley. And off they go. Big effort now. Both teams. They have to get on top of that gear. Push hard. Rider 2 just has to leave a bit of a gap in front to push into as they come down the home straights. Into that gap. Off they go. And it's a full effort. It really hurts the lungs, this one. And already it's the West Midlands region setting the fastest time, coming up to stop the clock, 37.502. So the West Midlands team go fastest. It's an average of 47.997. So qualifying team sprint here. And just to give you an indication, the British records set by Becky James and Jess Varnish way back in 2013 in Mexico, 32.400. So we've seen the B team, and now in the home straight in Heat 3 we're seeing Team Impeller A, Chloe Dilks and Ellie Dilks. And on the back straight, Team Wales, Emma Funakan and Serena Nat. And we've talked about this throughout the championships, the importance of having a track nearby. The track in Newport helping Welsh cycling. The male team pursuit just qualified for the medal ride-off. So Team Impeller A on the home straight, Team Wales in the back straight. 2 laps of the track. The rider in the start gate does 1 lap. The rider on the outside does the final lap. Fastest 8 teams go through to the next round. And this is all about technique. Using rider 1 to your advantage. Trying to get the slipstream, punch into that air. And Team Wales look good here. This is going to be a good time by Team Wales. So Team Wales still flying round this velodrome. They're almost going to catch the team in front of them. They're going to stop the clock, 35.773. An average speed of just over 50.3 kilometres an hour. So a good ride by Wales there. So Team Wales go into top spot. So an excellent performance there. And Team Impeller A 44.702. So on to heat 4. And in the home straight, Ashley Faye Helsby and Georgia Holt will represent Billy Billsland Cycles. And in the back straight, Rowan Andrew, Elizabeth Winton, Scottish junior team. Just remind everybody, get involved via social media, hashtag Track Champs. So 2 Scottish teams up against each other here. And off they go. Difficult start for Billy Billsland Cycles there. Nice to see Scottish junior team, Rowan Andrew, Elizabeth Winton. Plenty of practice at the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome in Glasgow. This is a close one. Scottish junior team just have this. But more importantly, second so far in the competition, coming up to set a time. What can they do? So they win this heat, but the more important fact is they finish second with a 36.581. So they ride into second. So the Team Wales still with the fastest time. Billy Billsland Cycles 36.965, good enough for third place. So the 2 Scottish teams lying second and third. Team Wales still at the top. And a lot of talented female sprinters still to come. So Team Wales still leading with a 35.773. Scotland Junior in second, Billy Billsland Cyclists in third, West Midlands region in fourth, and Team Impella B in fifth. Top 8 teams to go through to the semi-finals, and then we'll see match team sprinting. Winners go through only. And moving swiftly on to Heat 5. Sophie Capewell and Millie Tanner of Team Terminator on the home straight. And on the back straight, Stephanie Hall, Naomi Lovesey of DiMaccio. And Sophie Capewell, already a national champion in the female sprint. And she will lead the way for Team Terminator. There she goes, well versed at this, pushes herself back just before the release. So plenty of practice in the start gate for Sophie Capewell. And Team Terminator are already fastest as expected. Capewell pulls up. And there we go, still fastest. So Terminator, DiMaccio A in 5th place. So Team Terminator just losing a little bit of time now. So what time are they going to set? First fastest, 34.070. So Team Terminator will go to the top of the leaderboard. DiMaccio A 36.956, good enough for 4th place. Top 8 goes. So well versed at. Team Terminator have done themselves good there with a good time of 34.070. It's a super fast time by Team Terminator, which puts them at the top of the leaderboard. We have 2 heats to go. So Sophie Capewell, a good start there. A good time in the end. Capewell thinking of trying to double up after winning the female sprints on Friday. But we move on now to Heat 6. And we have the Scotland senior team. We've already seen the junior team. So Scotland senior with Lauren Bell and Lucy Grant. So Lucy Grant will start off in the insides. On the back straights, Jessie Crampton and Charlotte Robinson. And Jessie Crampton, fantastic winner of the women's keirin, and she'll finish this one off. Our teammate Charlotte Robinson on the inside will start the procession. So Jessie Crampton on dominant form in the women's keirin yesterday to keep her national crown. So a good start by both riders. Scotland's riding the fastest for the time being, so a good effort there. So now it's down to Lauren Bell and Jessie Crampton. Team Scotland third, Sports City fourth. What have they got left? Scotland will take this one, and more importantly go into second place. So 34.989 against Sports City Velo, 35.692. So second and third for Scotland Senior and Sports City Velo. But when you consider Scotland Senior almost 0.9 of a second slower than Team Terminator. So when we said this is all about 1/100th of a second, this race, that's a big ask moving forward in this competition, but still a good ride by Team Scotland there. So we go into the final heat, and an interesting one. Just remember, #TrackChamps, get involved, send us your pictures. We're here all day, would love to have your company. So Heat 7, a really interesting one. Shanaz Reeds is back. This is the Northwest team on the home straight. And she will be joined by Blaine Ridge Davis, who rode really well in the women's sprint on Friday. And then in the back straights, we have Lucia Steele and Victoria Williamson. And Victoria Williamson recently just returned from Hong Kong after the World Cup recently. Straight here to the championships. It's a really interesting mix we've got in the track now. So there you have it. Lucia Steele on the outside in the red helmet. Off they go. Shanaz Reeds goes away for Northwest. And second and fourth respectively. So Northwest just about have this one. So still second and third. So a very close match here. What can Lucia Steele and Blaine Ridge Davis do here? Third and fourth. So looking a little bit of time. So there you go. Northwest take that one. 34.043. Blackline will be in third place, 34.356, 0.3 down. So the Northwest take that, and it was really all down to the last throw. 0.027. So they were slightly down, but it was Blaine Ridge Davis that kept her speed. Throve the bike towards the end, and that's the difference. So they will be the fastest qualifiers, the Northwest region, with a 34.043, but just behind them, Team Terminator, 34.070. Black Line with Lucia Steele and Victoria Williamson will be in third. Scotland Senior in fourth. Sports City Velo in fifth with 35.692. So plenty of female talent there. In the team sprints, mix between the teams, but it does look good for Northwest and Team Terminator. But the next round will be match team sprinting. All about recovering now, and we'll see the women up again later on in the day. So just a few minutes, we will be going to the female points race, but before we go there, just let's look at what the riders have to face.
The points race is a mass start race over a long distance. It's an endurance race, but tactics are crucial to the rider's success. Men race over a distance of 40 kilometres. For the women, it's 25 kilometres. A sprint is held every 10 laps, which is signalled by a bell. Points are awarded for each sprint. For first place, 5 points. For second, it's 3. Third place, 2 points. And for fourth place, 1 point. In addition to the sprints, riders can earn 20 points for lapping the field and joining the back of the main bunch of riders. The leading rider is indicated by the starter, who stands on the start line and points to the leading rider as he or she passes. The winner is the rider with the most points at the end of the race.
So next up we will have the female points race. This is 2 qualifying rounds. Not ideal for many of these competitors, but such is the strength and depth of female cycling, they'll have to go through the qualifiers. So the qualifying rounds, 10 kilometres, 40 laps. The top 12 riders will go through. So in the first heat, we will see 20 riders. Second heat, 18 riders. And the reigning champion, Katie Archibald, is at it again. I think across these championships, we've seen her on the podium with an individual gold in her pursuits and 2 bronze medals. 1 from the scratch race and 1 from the sprint. And some quality riders in the scratch race, the points race, sorry. So the riders will have a sprint every 10 laps. Points in offer. Double points at the finish. Top 12 to go through. So to secure your place in the final, you want to be trying to take some points early on. Off we go. Ellie Russell for Team Breeze leads it off. Unlike many of these bunch events here at the Nationals, just a cagey affair. Just some short turns at the front. Anna Shackley of Team 22 just swinging up. So 20 riders in this first heat. And a move at the moment. Rebecca Raybould has decided to test the waters. So an early attack by Rebecca Raybould. She's joined by Abby Smith. A reaction again from Zoe Waters from Sprocket Cycling Club. So 2 attackers. Raybould. And at the front now, Abby Smith. Some more riders trying to come across. So with the final later on today, you don't want to be making too many big efforts, but you want to make sure you get yourself in the final. Bit of a lull in the action. Matilda Gurney just on the front, swinging up in the peloton. But it's still at the front. We've got Raybould and Smith. And they have got a quarter of a lap. So 4 laps to go to the first sprint. Katie Archibald comes to the front, swings up. And still at the front, Team Breeze with Rebecca Raybould and Abby Smith for RFDA. Looks very likely that they'll be taking the first sprint points. Eleanor Barker just pulls up at the front of the peloton, so plenty of talent. We've seen that yesterday in the female scratch race. So 2 laps to go to the first sprint. The peloton look content. 2 riders look as if they'll contend for the 5 and the 3. 2 and 1 still in offer for the front of the peloton. The bell rings. So Raybould goes through for Team Breeze. Abby Smith follows her. I think they'll try and stay together. A reaction at the front of the peloton for the minor places. So that'll be Raybould and Smith. Katie Archibald looks as if she popped up there to take the 2 points. And also up there in the points, Joanna Smith for Thanet. So 5 to Raybould. Abby Smith takes the 3, Katie Archibald 2, Joanna Smith 1. And back together now. So Raybould happy with 5 points already. Take some points early. Just makes you relax a little bit more. So Katie Archibald just taking 2 points. So she'll be happy. It's down to the other riders now. If they want to move through in the top 12, they have to steal some points in the next sprints. Otherwise, they're going to have to battle for the finish. Double points on the finishing line. But if you don't get any points, you have to make sure you finish well up on the finish, because your finishing place will be taken into consideration. Eleanor Barker now at the front just swings up. She'll be looking to gain some points. Silver medalist in the scratch race yesterday. But as we were saying earlier, hard effort this morning. You want to try and keep your energy. They had scratch races yesterday, and a reaction now at the front. 4 laps to go this time. Bit of an acceleration. And here we go. Man and Lloyd in the black just swings up. Still a cagey affair. It's all about making sure you qualify, but you don't want to expend too much energy. And that's Corinne Hall, a Brother UK Fusion racing team. And looks as if Eleanor Barker, 2 laps to go over the next sprint, and the fluorescent yellow is looking to gain some points here. A move over the top, Rona Callender, Team Breeze. She also wants to get involved with the action. Eleanor Barker, astute to that. Next time round will be 1 lap to the sprint. Rona Callender leading Eleanor Barker. Anna Docherty in 3rd place there. And over the top is that man in Lloyd in the black trying to come up. Eleanor Barker just pops out there. Barker showing her class here. Barker coming up. Man in Lloyd taking 2nd there. So, as we expected, Barker wanting to take some points there so she can relax a little. Looked as if Anna Docherty also up there. So Barker taking 5, Man and Lloyd taking 3. So as we see, Barker and Rebecca Raybould both with 5 points. Man and Lloyd with 3, Abby Smith with 3, Ellie Russell with 2. Top 12 going through. 17 laps to go. Ellie Russell just on the front now. Eleanor Barker just staying out of trouble. Thankfully we've not seen too many incidents throughout the championships, which just goes to show you the quality of the competitors here. On the front, Crystal Lane Wright of Iserix. Lauren Cheeseman of Evans Cycles, all over for her as she pulls onto the blue. 15 laps to go down the outsides. A move from Ella Barnwell, Live CC, Halo Cycles. And she takes with her teammate Elena Smith. And now we're seeing another reaction from Rona Callender. She already has some points, wanting some more. So here we go, 3 laps to the next sprint. And Rona Callender getting involved with the action. With the tandem from the Live CC Halo Cycles, Eleanor Smith and Ella Barnwell. But a big reaction from Katie Archibald now at the front of the peloton, timing her effort. 2 laps to go now. She has distance. She's making her way across to the 3 in front, so they will have company. So Rona Callender, Smith and Cheeseman being joined by Katie Archibald. The bell rings. Katie Archibald goes straight over the top. She wants maximum points here. So the 5, 3, 2 and 1 are in front. Katie Archibald is going to secure the 5 points. So Katie takes that. A close call for the next places. It does look as if Eleanor Barnwell takes 2nd there. Rona Callender with Helena Smith taking the 1 point. So Archibald, Barnwell, Callender, Smith, 5, 3, 2 and 1. 9 laps to go, double points in the end. So we haven't secured any points This is the last chance. Otherwise, you're going to have to battle and make sure you finish as high as possible. So 5 riders now at the front. So almost half a lap in front. So you've got the duo from Liv. And also up there, joined by a 5th rider. So we have Elena Smith from Liv CC with her teammate Ella Barnwell, but also involved with the mixed Corinne Hall, Katie Archibald, the defending champion, and Rona Callender. So 5 riders in front, and if they battle out the double points in 6 laps time, then they'll make sure they will move through to the next round, which means there'll be no points left for the bunch behind. So all be about the finishing places. So as we were talking earlier, you have to try and gain some points to make sure you're there. Eleanor Barker managed to do that by sprinting just the once and taking maximum points. So we have 5 riders in front. The defending champion Katie Archibald just coming through to the front. We have Ella Barnwell and Elena Smith of Liv CC, joined by Team Breeze in the red Rona Callender and Corinne Hall MBA Brother UK Fusion RT. And with 4 laps to go, 1 kilometre, it does look as if they will be trying to take the points at the finish. 3 laps to go now. So the focus now is on the peloton and finishing places. If you want to finish in the top 12 and go through to the next rounds, there's no more points in offer. So half a lap up, 5 riders. And we're starting to see the race at the front of the peloton. So the 5 riders in front, they'll go through to the next rounds, but we're starting to see a reaction now at the front of the peloton. Rebecca Raybold is trying to move up here, but also is Lane Wright of Isar X. So it could be down to the finishing places now. And a big push now at the front here. Lane Wright of Isar X pushing hard. So the sprint at the peloton, but at the front, it's going to be Rona Callender taking the double points. They're safe, but more importantly, it's about the front of the peloton getting as high as possible in the finish. And the sprint there taken by Sophie Lewis of CT On Form. So we'll wait for confirmation. So we know that Katie Archibald, Eleanor Barnwell, Rona Callender, Corinne Hall and Elena Smith will be through, as well as the other riders that stole some points throughout that points race. But we could see a big reaction at the front of the peloton because their finishing places will be taken into consideration. And Sophie Lewis done the best job she could by taking the bunch sprint there for CT On Form. So we'll tidy that later. But Rona Callender taking maximum points. Corinne Hall 6, Barnwell 4, Elena Smith 2. Archibald had already secured the points, decided not to waste their effort. So a good calculated points race qualifier for many riders, but some will be disappointed. So 12 riders will go through, as we see some of the highlights now. It's a good race, but it's all about qualifying without making too much of an effort. But you still had to make some efforts to make sure you move through there. And we see Eleanor Barker just making sure that she secures some of the points. But this was the start of the attack from the duo from Liv CC. They were joined by Katie Archibald. She took maximum points in 1 sprint. She was content with that. 5 riders fought out the double points at the end. And then it came down to the battle at the front of the peloton for the minor places. So the qualifier 1 out the way. I've got another one coming up. Heat 2, 18 riders. So a bit of a cagey affair in the first one. Some of the stars just stealing some points and making sure they go through to the next round. But the points race is a very difficult one, having to sprint every 10 laps. And if you qualify, you're going to have to do it all again. So just a reminder, we're here all day, whether you're watching on the British Cycling website, Facebook Live, or on the YouTube channel. Hashtag Track Champs. Wherever you are in the world, send us in your pictures. So across social media, hashtag Track Champs. And for those of you new to cycling, there's a lot happens in the infield. And in the infield at the moment, the riders are just being called out from the pen onto the track. So heat 2 about to go underway. But yeah, there's a lot happens in the infield. Everybody warms up in their own way. A lot of action. A lot of sitting around. A lot of concentrating. A lot of earphones. So here we go. Heat 2. And we're off 40 laps. So 18 riders, 12 to qualify. In this heat we have Georgia Ashworth, Megan Barker, Elizabeth Bennett, Abigail Dentis, Eleanor Dickinson, Nia Evans, Francesca Hall, Jenny Hall, Laura Kenny, Eleanor King, Josie Knight, Amy Monkhouse, Emily Nelson, Jessica Roberts, Emilia Sharp, April Tacey, Sarah Walker and Katie Wotton. But already a reaction at the front, so this one kicking off very early. So down the back straight already an attack. So here we go, an early attack here from April Tacey, Team Velotech. A reaction at the front of the peloton, so this is quick straight away. This could be a little bit more difficult. The heat 1 is a little bit more controlled. Liv CC with 2 riders at the front of the peloton. They've got 2 riders already qualified for this event, or for the final later. And the bunch just settles down. And we see Laura Kenny just do a small turn at the front. And so the attack comes to nothing from April Tacey. Nobody wanted to join her. Still a long way to go, 34 laps. But more importantly, 4 laps to the finish. Francesca Hall for Loughborough students in the purple tries an attack. Quickly tracked down by Laura Kenny. And it looks as if Laura Kenny wants to try and secure some points. In fact, it's Megan Barker, sorry. Wants to try and secure points early to some of the star riders here. But it's Liv CC Halo Cycles going for this one. Eleanor King and Ella Nuds has 2 laps to go. And she's just concentrating, making the effort. She wants to gain some points here. So maybe she can relax a little bit for the rest of the ride. She's totally committed now, but here we come. Laura Kenny is there, trying to go over the top. And so she's been chased down. And this is going to come down to the wire now. And it's a good ride. Eleanor Dixon takes maximum points there. So a big acceleration there. Unfortunately for Eleanor King, she couldn't hang on to that one. Laura Kenny decides she wants to continue with this effort. So Eleanor Dixon, Laura Kenny, Elizabeth Bennett and Eleanor King just hanging on for that 1 point. So that could be important for Eleanor King. So it was Eleanor Dixon that took her maximum points there. So it very much looks as if you're winning one of these sprints, you will be going through to the final. That's why you have to make the effort. Seeing an attack now off the front developing. Jessica Roberts involved there with Team Breeze. 3 riders in black, but nobody really committing. 26 laps to go this time round. Laura Kenny just looking there. Followed round by Abigail Dentis. A reaction. An attack by a brace of riders now. Swings up, swings back down. She needs to commit. Jessica Roberts going for this one now. Josie Knight, Brother UK Fusion RT. Couple of casualties at the back. But this is Josie Knight and Jessica Roberts. So a good move now. So they could be taking a lap quite quickly now. So a good effort here from Jessica Roberts. And Josie Knight. A quick lap taken as they join the back of the peloton. Just as we say that, a reaction now at the front. So Josie Knight and Jessica Roberts taking a lap. An immediate reaction at the front. This is Jenny Hall. April Tacey trying to go with her. Another reaction at the front of the peloton. Is this Megan Barker going? Megan Barker is coming. So a fight here for the minor places. Nia Evans also up there. And Nia Evans goes straight over the top. So an exciting race this. So Josie Knight, Jessica Roberts taking those 20 points. I think are safe now. Nia Evans just kicking back ever so slightly. So 3 riders with a slight advantage now. So Jenny Hall confirmed the winner of that sprint. Nia Evans in second. And Nia Evans not really wanting to push on now. Megan Barker. And also Jenny Hall. They've taken the points. No reason to push on. It's all about qualifying. In the final, they maybe think twice about this, but they have secured the points. And you've got Josie Knight, Jessica Roberts, then Jenny Hall in third, Eleanor Dixon in equal points in third. Nia Evans taking those 3 points, puts her in fifth. So they'll look at the scoreboard. We have 1 or 2 sprints to come, 1 normal sprint and a double sprint at the end. But a good move earlier on by Josie Knight and Jessica Roberts have given them those 20 points to secure a place in the final. So they just have to make sure they stay safe. Next time round, 15 laps to go. So the race now settled down. So Eleanor King just struggling a little bit off the back of the main group, and Eleanor's already secured a point, so she has to stay with it. I think even with a point she could actually qualify, but if she loses a lap she loses 20 points. So pushing on there, Georgia Ashworth of Team 22. So now we have 4 riders. Francesca Hall trying to shut this one down. Also involved there, Amelia Sharp or Liv CC. A matter of about 20 metres. And the reaction now, we go to 1 lap towards the sprint. And it's a big effort now. Emily Nelson of RST. She wants the points. She wants to secure these points. Emily Nelson coming up here. She's happy with those points. Maximum points. Eleanor Dixon scores again. Nia Evans also up there, I think, collecting the 1 point. So 10 laps to go. The final double point sprint. Laura Kenny also up there involved in the action. So it was Emily Nelson, Eleanor Dickinson, Laura Kenny and Nia Evans. So I think those names will go on to the final. So some riders just being distanced at the back of the peloton, making their way back as the bunch settles down. So like the previous heats, if you haven't scored a point, you have to race for the finish. And if you can't get in the top 4, you want to finish as high as possible. And taking it up, Georgia Ashworth of Team 22. And so I think most of the star riders in this heat have taken some points. So it's all going to come down to the minor places. And we've got Amy Monkhouse from Backstead Cycling down the back straight. And Amy Monkhouse, 5 laps to go. And if she can secure the double points, she'll make it into the next round, but this is a big effort. Megan Barker also trying to go for it now. So Monkhouse and Barker. Monkhouse, 4 laps to go. Barker now, a matter of about 50 metres just behind, but the bunch have sat up. And now a reaction at front of the peloton. But Jenny Hall, she swings up. So Monkhouse trying hard now, 3 to go. She's dying a little. Megan Barker. So this is a hard effort now, and they'll pay for it a little bit later on. Another big reaction from Abigail Dentis. So a Monkhouse, can she hang on? 2 laps to go. Megan Barker now comes up to her. Another big reaction behind. Abigail Dentis trying to come across. So this is Megan Barker, and Megan Barker with 1 lap to go looks as if she's taking double points at the end. Can Monkhouse hang in there? Another big effort behind by Dentis. 4th place, we've got April Tacey of Velotech. They look as if they're going to take the maximum points. Reaction at front of the peloton for the minor points, so Barker takes double points at the end to secure her place. But more importantly, at the front of the peloton, big action there from Elizabeth Bennett. So never scored in the points, but by finishing 5th there, she could be securing her place in the final later on today. So that's the conclusion of the second heat of the female points race qualification. Megan Barker takes the maximum points. Monkhouse hangs on for second. Dentis takes third. And that means that Knight, Roberts, Barker, Dixon will go on to the final. So just to tidy up that sprint, Barker, Monkhouse, Dentis and Tacey, your top 4 at the finish. And then the minor places will be taken into consideration. So 12 qualify in each heat. Means we'll see 24 riders in the final later on. So we see just some of the highlights from what we've just seen in the points race. Okay, we just get a bit of a lull in the action now before we prepare for the next race, and that's the scratch race. There'll be 2 qualifying rounds, 10 kilometres, 40 laps, top 12 to qualify. So just bear with us, and we'll show you both heats, and the top 12 will go through to the final later on today. So the riders just warming up in the infield for the time being, but please keep with us, and if you're on social media, hashtag track champs. Okay, the male scratch race on now, just about to start. 2 qualifiers. Let's see what the riders have to do. So, not the men's Kieran. This is the scratch race qualifying. 2 heats. The first heat, 25 riders, 26 in the next heat. The riders will do 40 laps. And it will come down to the first 12 riders across the line will go on to the final. So I suspect we will see a bit of a cagey affair here. So first 12 across the line, straight through. The gun goes. Leading the way, James Tillett, Wales Racing Academy. So the first 12 across the line secures their place in the final later. So thanks for joining us here at the HSBC National Championships in Manchester. Please join the fun. Hashtag Track Champs. So steady away. And in this heat, we've got Isaac Appleby, Will Björkveld, Jim Brown, James Codds, Thiago Fugo, Kyle Gordon, Leo Hayter, Frank Kilsby, Aaron King, Oscar Minge, Adam Mitchell, Michael Mottram, Joe Nally, Oscar Nielsen Julian, Joe Partington, Joseph Perkins, Will Perrott, Will Robertson, Tim Shorman, Mark Stewart, James Tillett, Ethan Vernon, Samuel Watson, Fred Wright and Ollie Woods. Just at the front now going is Kyle Gordon, already a medalist in these national championships. Boiled by that and wanting another medal. Certainly looks as if he's got the form. Followed by Joseph Perkins in the orange. So quite a fast start now for this first heat. The top 12 to qualify. Traditionally coming down to a sprint at the end, a scratch race. But we have seen in the past riders taking a lap and fighting it out. James Codds of Team Backstead just moving up. Settled down again. And now a reaction at the front of the peloton. 31 to go. And this is Leo Hayter of VOC Londres. So some probing efforts now. Kyle Gordon riding towards the front. So some gaps starting to appear. The pace is on. So next time round, 28 laps to go. So these laps going fairly quickly. Adam Mitchell, Spokes Racing Team towards the fore. Nobody really committing. And 1-3-4 there, Frank Kilsby. So a steadily fast pace now. The boys in green towards the front. Jim Brown, Fred Wright, Nelson Juliet just swings up now. This is heat 1, qualifying heat. Oh, an attack over the top now. That was close. A move by Mark Stewart is this. Mark Stewart for Ribble Pro Cycling. He takes with him Kyle Gordon. So this is a good move. Ollie Wood is there for Canyon. So these are 4 strong riders. So Kyle Gordon, Ollie Wood, and they've got, looks like Ethan Vernon with them. So Mark Stewart, Kyle Gordon, Ollie Woods, 4 very strong riders, 1 rider coming across. So it's all come back together now. Hollywood in the blue. Just swinging up the track. 248. So a lull in the action. But good to see some of the favourites with probing attacks. 182 there, Will Perrott, University of Derby. Involved with the team pursuit earlier today. Mark Stewart comes to the front, Ollie Wood. Again, putting the pressure down. We've got Fred Wright involved here in the action. Mark Stewart, Ollie Wood. Some of the names will be shouting out in the final, I would suspect. So these 4 riders, 14 laps to go. Pushing on. Hollywood in the blue at the front there. 2 boys in green from Team Inspired. The back there, 222. Mark Stewart, the Scot. Fred Wright pushes on. So Ethan Vernon for Team Inspired is the other rider here. 248 is his number. So the tall figure of Ethan Vernon just at the back there. So we've got Fred Wright, Ethan Vernon, Mark Stewart and Ollie Woods. Another 4 riders trying to come across now. This is getting interesting. A group coming across. So we get 4 riders, 4 riders. And it looks as if this could be it. So a good move by some of the stronger riders now. Here we go. Some of these riders now moving across. Joe Nally getting involved with the action. So 8 laps to go. Hollywood just swings up. And they're just about to be joined But a few more riders, including William Roberts from Wales Racing Academy, and just about to lap the peloton as they slow ever so slightly. 7 laps to go. They don't want to make the catch. As you can see, Mark Stewart having a word with the riders behind. They don't want to put any more effort in than needed. So here we go, pushing on down the back straight. The boys in green, a lot of traffic. It's picking the bones out of this one now. Some more attacks off the front. The peloton are now being led by Kyle Gordon, but we need to remember we've had many riders gain a lap now. So many of these riders have already gained a lap, 4 laps to go. With the attack off the front of the peloton, they know that they have to try and finish in the top 12. So another attack, including Jim Brown off the front of the peloton. Mark Stewart now comes to the front, pushes hard. He's one of the riders already gaining a lap. So Mark Stewart, Ethan Vernon, 2 of the riders have already gained that lap. Mark Stewart just off the front. Just coming across, or trying to come across the 3 riders on the attack. Coming down, 1 lap to go now. And these riders just hanging off the front of the peloton, Leo Hayter being one of them. Trying to mop up the minor places. Ollie Woods at the front of the peloton comes through. Fred Wright is there. So here we go. Up to finish. So the riders now have completed the 40 laps in the first heat. We'll just wait for confirmation. But we had many riders lap the field, and they'll move through to the final. And the commissaires will have to pick the bones out the finishing places there to pick the 12 riders that will qualify for the next round. So first heat done and dusted. Heat 2 up next, 26 riders. That was an attacking race there. We saw many riders lap the peloton, and they will move forward into the final for the gold, silver and bronze. And the next heat, just warming up in the infield. As you just catch the action, Kyle Gordon was attacking early, and he'll just have to wait to see where he finishes if he makes it through to the next round. So Kyle Gordon, Ollie Woods, significant towards the front also. Mark Stewart was also there. So a good fast race there in the first heats of the men's scratch. So next up will be heat 2, 26 riders, another 40 laps of the track. So heat 1 will go away, warm down, relax, prepare themselves for the final later on today. And then the qualifiers, you just have to make sure you actually qualify. Guaranteed qualifiers: Ollie Woods, Ethan Vernon, Michael Mottram, William Roberts, Mark Stewart, to name just 5 of them. So we'll see them later on in the final, battling for the medals. So just bear with us. Heat 2 will be up next. Remember, you can enjoy the action across many platforms. Facebook Live, on the British Cycling website, and YouTube. And as Heat 2 warm up in the infield, we just get a little explainer. If you're new to cycling, we've got a little explainer about the scratch race.
The scratch race is a classic first across the line mass start race. The men race across a distance of 15 kilometres. The women race across 10 kilometres. Endurance riders often surge in an attempt to unsettle all the sprinters in the field. In turn, the sprinters will try to shelter with the pack for most of the race, conserving their energy until the final laps. The starter will indicate the leading rider by pointing as they pass on the home straight.
So just shots of the riders warming up in the infield. The commissaire in the white shirts just having a word with a few of the riders, asking a few of the riders just for the bike check at the bottom left of our screen. So all riders have to go through a bike check to make sure the bike complies with the governing body regulations. So exits the pen now, and they'll be soon onto the track for Heat 2. And if the first heat is anything to go by, this is going to be another good qualifier. I'll just go through the names as they join the track. Michael Atkinson, Stephen Bradbury, Zach Bridges, Rhys Britton, Andy Brown, Nicholas Cooper, Matty Dobbins, Robert Donaldson, Alfie George, Ethan Hayter, Joe Holt, Logan McLean, Oscar Onley, Joshua Price, Jacob Ragan, Joseph Rees, Cameron Richardson, Owen Roberts, Jack Rutkin Gray, Oliver Stockwell, Will Tidball, Sam Tillett, Jacob Tipper, Jaco van Gaas, Matt Walls and Martin Wiffenden. Just rolling rounds, and when the gun is fired, the race will start. In the previous heat, it kicked off straight away. Ethan Hayter at the top of the track in the red. So here we go, just about to start. The gun goes, 40 laps of the track, first 12, move forward to the final later today, and Ethan Hayter up for this one straight away at the front, followed by Will Tidball. And also up there, Jacob Ragan. So a fast start to this one, just like Heat 1. Nicholas Cooper doing his turn. Then we have Oscar Onley for Spokes Racing. So the riders just doing short turns at the front, keeping the pace high. Already 5 laps in to this qualifying heat. Again, Oscar Onley for Spokes Racing Team, prominent towards the front. Tactic of many, staying towards the fore as much as possible. They don't want any gaps appearing in front of them. So still rolling round. Slight acceleration now at the front from Andy Brown. The boys in green come to the fore. I've seen them in the previous heats. Plenty of young talent in this team inspired, including Rhys Britton, who won the points race yesterday. Nice to see Discovery CC up there as well. And that was Alfie George. Down the back straight, 30 laps to go this time, so very quickly. Laps counting down. Jacob Ragan of Albion Cycling. So this race just winding up nicely. An acceleration at the front for Sam Tillett from Wales. Swings up the track, doesn't want to overcommit. This race just winding up ever so faster now. Ethan Hayter head down, putting the pressure on. Gap starting to appear now. And it happened in a previous heat with Mark Stewart putting the pressure on, breaking the peloton. Stephen Bradbury up there in the black. Ethan Hayter still pushing hard. Just getting fast. Gap starting to open in the peloton behind. Rhys Britton just pulls up. His teammate also. Short turns for some. But they're not drifting too far back in this peloton. At this pace, the stronger riders will keep on riding towards the front. Will Tidball also up there. Ethan Hayter in the blue and the red, putting the pressure on, taking with him 2 of the inspired riders. And here we go. Will Tidball pushing hard. Ethan Hayter, also Rhys Britton. I mean, you've got the form. National champion in the points race. It's a 3 strong riders. So Rob Britton, Ethan Hayter, and Will Tidball, and the riders behind trying to close the gap. They've only got a matter of 20-30 metres, but they're committed to this one. Looks like it's Bradbury trying to bring them back, and he is. The gap is not going out, and it's the riders at the front swinging up one by one now. Zach Bridges also getting involved. Ethan Hayter still trying to persevere. A look behind. He's got Tidball. Ethan Hayter and Tidball with a slender advantage, but moving up the track. It wasn't to be this time. And it's the man in black bringing it all back together. And that's Stephen Bradbury. So already some of the favourites trying to push hard. So Robert Donaldson just pulling up, as well as Owen Roberts. And here we go. Ethan Hayter looks as if he's up for the fight today. Quite active towards the front. Like we said earlier, you have to guarantee a place in the final if you want to fight out for the medals. You can't always sit back. A big effort now, as we see Andy Brown. So Andy Brown pushing. 15 laps to go. This one looks as if it could come down to a sprint at the end. Not sure if we have enough time for riders to take a lap. So Andy Brown on his own. It's a long way, 14 laps. So Andy Brown from Metal Tech Kyoto, about 50 metres advantage, but they're hunting him down now. Alfie George involved there with the action from Discovery. Down the back straight. And we have 6 riders now joining Andy Brown. So that leaves 7. Ethan Hayter flies across this gap now, down the back straight. So Ethan Hayter coming across also, sees the danger, wants to get involved. The frontier, Matt Walls. So some danger men in here. And Ethan Hayter has made it onto the back of this group. So the pace definitely up. 10 laps to go. Some damage done at the back of the main group. Zach Bridges just swings up there. Ethan Hayter, who came across, he's been making efforts in this qualifying. So all back together. But still the pace is high. Just swinging up at the front, Jacob Ragan. So this does look as if it's going to come down to a sprint. It'll start to wind up with about 5 to go. Ethan Hayter dives down. So Ethan Hayter, seeing if MD wants to go with him. A bit of a shake of the head from the others. Ethan Hayter on his own, 7 laps out. It's a big effort. He's already made some big efforts so far. This is still qualifying events. Top 12. So they're happy. Just when we said nobody may lap the peloton, but already half a lap up is Ethan Hayter. 6 laps to go. And he's flying round the velodrome, looking strong. But the peloton will start to wind this up soon. So 5 laps to go. Ethan Hayter, a matter of only 3 laps, and Ethan Hayter has gained a lap. What an effort that was. Pretty much secures a place in the final later today. He has looked good throughout this race, putting in the efforts. But that was quite a fast and easy lap gained by Ethan Hayter, sorry. So we start to wind it up now. 3 laps to go. Zach Bridges at the front now. 11 places left in the final. As they start to wind it up even more. All about positioning now. 2 laps to go. Coming down the outside, Reese Britton, already national points race winner. Push hard down the back straight. They'll come up to the bell. It's all about positioning now. Big push now from Joe Holt. Joe Holt in the black in the front. You have to finish in the top 11. Ethan Hayter already through. And look behind by many. They're safe. Let's push for the line now. That's it. We'll have to wait for confirmation and who's made it through. But Ethan Hayter looking good. Gained a lap. Didn't have to get involved with that sprint. And it came down to the final sprint in the end, which will determine the other 11 riders that will join Ethan Hayter in the next round. So that concludes the qualifying events for the male scratch race. We'll see the final later on today. 12 riders qualified in each round. Ethan Hayter looked really good in that heat. Mark Stewart instigated the racing in Heat 1. So most of the favourites have made it through to the final. And that concludes the 5th session here at the HSBC National Track Championships. Plenty of action to come later on today. As we see the highlights now, Ethan Hayter intent on riding this one from the front, and he went with great pace. There he goes. A couple of riders look behind, shake of the heads. Ethan Hayter head down. So I had the gap and thought, this is it. The sprint for the other places, and the top 11 riders finishing there will join Ethan Hayter into the final. So that concludes the session on Sunday morning, session 5. The session will start later on at 1:30, so make sure you get involved. Hashtag TrackChamps via social media. Send in your photographs. What are you doing today? So we'll give you all the action later with the male Kieran, the female team sprints, the female 500 metres time trial, the male team pursuit, and of course what we've just seen, the male scratch race final with the female points race. So plenty of